Hey everybody, Scott Hogan coming at you here. In this video, we're going over Stats Corner again. We're going to be talking about approach play, help you develop a strategy to breaking down your barriers to shooting the scores that you want to shoot. Alright, so we're talking approach play today. Again, another strategy corner. Again, thank you everybody so much for your feedback on the first video. If you're not a subscriber, click that subscribe button. Got more of these coming up. I think these are really interesting to look at, and some of the stuff I like to look at when we work with players, because I think we can really help people play better golf by just understanding the game. Because what's that going to let you do? It's going to let you go use your practice time better. You're going to actually practice the right things that make a difference, and that's how you'll shoot lower scores. So we're going to give kind of a common example here of what I see. Okay, so I've got a whole round laid out here. Again, these are these two rounds that I played at Highlands at Elgin. Thank you to them for having us out with our students. They loved it. It was a fantastic course. Highly recommend it. It was a ton of fun to play. Let's look at what we see on these shots. Okay, so we're going to go between two rounds. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at this par 3 17th hole, and we're going to look at the par 3 15th. So first round on the par 3 17th, I hit a 7-iron, hit it to 17 feet on the green, gain 0.2 strokes basically, and then in the second round I hit it to 25 feet on the green, gain 0.1. So you're like, oh hey, that's good. Obviously if I hit 7 irons on the green, I gain strokes. Let's look at what happens when you miss the green. Okay, you lose almost half a shot. Okay, now here's the point we want to make. If I hit on this hole here, okay, the 15th hole, I hit a 132-yard shot, and I hit it to, again, 25 feet on the fairway, or 25 yards on the fairway. It was about a 75-foot chip. Bad pull on the fringe. You couldn't putt it. Had to chip it. So that count, it's a missed green, and it cost me, again, about half a shot. So you're like, oh, well, both of them are bad. Well, the point that we like to make, and where do I see the number one issue that I see people struggling with, or people making their mistakes? They say, oh, I got to work on that 7-iron. I got to hit it on the green. Well, this is like a pitching wedge for me, 132, maybe a gap wedge, but usually like a smooth pitching wedge. The thing we want to look at is how many times am I hitting my pitching wedge versus, or anywhere close to 120 to 140 yards, right, in that range, compared to how many times am I hitting from 160 to 180. Well, let's go through the round. It's like, okay, here 212 going for the green. That's not within that range. 132, there we go. That's one. Happened to hit this one pretty good. Let's see. Got another 135. There we go. 112, okay, a little short of our range, but kind of in the ballpark. There's another one. There's a 180, but that's on a par. That's actually because I hit a bad shot off the tee, so that we don't really count that one because I was just pitching out from that range, so that one doesn't count. And we got the 171 there, and there might be a 180 somewhere. Yeah, but I haven't found it. There's 142, so that kind of goes in our range. So we start looking at shots, and we start looking at the volume of shots that we hit. I hit more shots from that pitching wedge range than I have from 7 or 6 iron range. And then we start going even lower, so we kind of start grouping wedges together. And let's look at my strokes. Well, let's go down here. How many do I have from, let's say, 90 to 120? That's my lob wedge to gap wedge range. Well, there's one. There's another. We had that one before. There's a 125 I think we missed earlier. There's another 132 we had earlier. There's your 142 we had. There's 69. So we start looking at volume. 95. We start looking at volume of shots. I have a chance to improve where I made a mistake on 2 shots, whereas I have a chance to improve on where, all right, my area of my game, which all goes under the approach play umbrella, my area of my game where I had 7 or 8 chances. Where do I want to actually get better? Well, I definitely want to get better at the part where I'm going to hit more shots. So what I always tell people is you can run away from longer shots. You can just lay up. You can take different strategies. But your whole point in golf is get the ball closer to the hole. So you can't run away from shorter approach shots. They are going to be a part of the game. So if you're going to play this game, you have to work on those shorter ones. You have to be able to pull them off and go from there. So that's the first mistake I see people make, is they work on these clubs where the volume just isn't there to matter. And so if you think about it in terms of, again, if you're trying to break 90, we combine it with poor strategy off the tee, where you could get to, by taking way too much risk, you could lose 10, 11 shots where you really only have about 20 shots to work with. So you've lost half your advantage there. Here now you can start losing 3 to 5, 6 more shots because you're working on the areas that only would lose you maybe a shot throughout the course of a round, and that's a huge thing that adds up over time. So that's the first thing that I see. Now, the second thing that I see people never realize, and I have an example. I didn't have to modify it for you because I just did it poorly as well. Right here, you can see the first hole. I hit a really perfect drive. I see this all the time. I hit 69 yards off the fairway. Granted, a little bit in between, probably not the smartest play to be up there, but definitely a shot I could hit, and I chunked it. And I left myself 25 yards in the fairway. Look at that. That's almost a full shot. It's 3/4 of a shot. Okay. I see people struggle with that. Now, here's what happens most. They go and they can't get the next one on the green either. They got 25 yards from the fairway, and then they get up here and they hit it to, let's say, 20 yards in the rough. Now you start combining it. There's 2 shots you've lost on this one hole. And this is a very common scenario where, okay, I've chunked a wedge, then I can't get that ball on the green still with a pitch shot, and because I'm not able to get the ball in the air, something like that. And now we're in trouble where we've really started to blow up our score in a heartbeat. So again, not saying these other things aren't mistakes, but focusing on the areas that really matter. When it comes to approach play, it's these ideas that these shorter shots, getting extremely good at them, are going to ultimately get your game back in shape. The other reason it can do that is because if you can start getting to a point where, hey, I can hit it to 10 feet from 70 yards, let's just see what happens to that shot. Well, all of a sudden, we've got a positive shot. So we can now start erasing some of the deficits from other areas of our game just by doing that. So it's one of those things, not only does it have a huge drastic outcome if you can't do it, it has a possibly positive outcome if you go through and play. So if you play the shots well. So it's just one of those things we really start talking about. It's like, all right, if you can't hit an 100-yard shot on the green, you probably can't hit a 70-yard shot on the green, because fairly similar swing. If you can't hit a 70, you might not be able to hit a 40. So, that's where you start ending up in getting to these big holes that turn into triples and quads and things like that. So working on the right part of your game. So if we're developing a plan, think about what clubs do you actually need to hit. Are you somebody that plays and hits most of your shots on the range with your driver, your hybrid, your 3-wood, and then your 7, 8, 9 iron, your wedge? They don't get hit, just for a couple. Maybe your 7 iron gets hit more, but then you're off to your 6, your 5. I'd rather see almost every shot hit with wedges, 9 irons, pitching wedge, because that's really going to make the difference and help your game out as you continue to play. So something to really think about as you're playing golf, see how you're doing with your game. So really, hopefully this helps you approach play. It's a little bit more nuanced, but getting some ideas of where you're going to practice, what do you need to be able to do, will help you shoot your lowest scores. And again, taking strategy to the course so you understand where you actually gain the most golf strokes for your particular scoring goal. So thanks everybody for watching, and again, we'll see you in the next video. Make sure you click that subscribe button, and we'll have more strategy and more tip videos to help you actually implement this and apply these ideas coming up down the road.